What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of How Not to Suck at Marketing. Um, I am Quincy, and my illustrious co host is
Tony Boudreau.
awesome.
Nice to meet everyone.
And so, this is How Not to Suck at Marketing. And so, I want to start off by saying the views and opinions that we have about marketing and our experiences are our own opinions and not reflective of our employers. So now that the legal is out of the way, um, let's just get started, right? So, first of all, I wanted to start off by saying I love that you are recently married, right, Tony? Like you can expound upon that experience. But like the funny thing is, I was thinking about this and alluding to kind of our first episode was I was like, what our tag name's going to be? And I was like, oh, this could be Tony D and like Q the Guru. And then I'm like, wait, we can't do that now because you're not now. Well, I guess you're Tony B now.
Yeah.
You could still be Tony B, so that still
Yeah.
works. And Quincy the Guru. And so, like, if that were our rap sort of DJ names for this podcast, I think that would suffice. What do you think?
I'm totally down for that. I will admit that might have been one of my aspirations going to high school, but to be part of like a duo group. But yeah, I'm totally down for that personally.
Would,
TB. I mean, I actually dub myself as TB when I end my messages, professionally or even non-professionally. Like you can call me TD for short, but obviously now with the last name change, I'm proud to say it because I said my full name within like 30 seconds of this episode. It's TB. So yeah,
Tom
you can call me
Brady.
Tom Brady. Yes.
Your goat talk, right?
Yes, which is perfect timing because I'm the new TV actually.
Oh, with the other one going in retirement, there's only one goat now. That's TB.
Yep, exactly. That's me.
That's awesome. So, tell us what's been going on. Let's do a life update, health check first. Like, how are you doing?
First and foremost, with any viewers that are potentially watching this, it's snowing outside, and so it's it's
This is
cold.
this is
Um,
Texas. That's not
we're
snow.
in good health. It's also I'm super excited because it's also the same day as like the Winter Olympics, so I'm super stoked. I'm going to watch that today. I'm really big into sports, so that's very excited about that. And then I recently got married. I recently started a new job. I recently got myself involved deep into Web 3.0, which we can definitely delve into that at a later time. And yeah, I'm just honestly, um, there's a lot of information right now going in, a lot of feedback, and it's I've been learning a lot within the past month, and I think a lot of it has to do with starting the new year off on the right foot, learning a lot, and making some essentially kind of life changes based upon what recent decisions I've made, whether it be for learning purposes or my new job or just professional development. So yeah, I'm in a pretty good spot right now. I can't complain. But yeah, how about yourself, Quincy?
I would say the same. I think that I'm on the learning path, and yeah, again, it's been interesting. Like I've been on this path for a while, but like this year, I think the current theme is like focus. And so, like, everything that I'm hearing from the universe and from the atmosphere is like, hey, narrow in and kind of focus. I'm an avid reader, and I was one of those people who would like read like 5 or 6 books at a time. But
Mhm.
then, like, it takes me like 3 years to like get through
Yeah,
like one book, and then so
guilty.
so like so like one weekend I was able to read like 3 books, and it was because I dialed in and I like focused, and I was like, dude, I was like, this is powerful. I actually now know what completion feels like and like that instant gratification. And I
Mhm.
was like, I need to get to completion more. And so that's kind of been my focus. The other thing is I'll be 40 this year, so I have like weightlifting goals. And for people who know me, they know that I'm a fitness lover, and so
Mhm.
I have a goal to like bench 400 by the time I'm 40, and to like squat 400 by the time I'm 40, and like deadlift to like at least 500 by the time I'm 40,
Yeah,
which is wild because I'm in like way better shape than I have ever been, and I played
yeah.
football like a long time. So this is awesome. It's been good. Family's good. And yeah, it's been good.
Wow. No, I love that, the focus especially component, because I think that just ties into perfectly kind of like it's funny because I feel like it's the complete, like, opposite of kind of where, like, I'm at right now. It's not that I'm not saying, like, I'm being spread too thin, but there's a
Yeah, yeah,
lot of, like, new information that I'm taking in right now, and then but obviously having to take into consideration, you need to kind of focus on what you really wanna do, otherwise you're just gonna kind of flounder about and not really be good at any one thing. And so, um yeah, that's the focus on, your reading, the focus on you getting better athletically, and just for your own health. I think that's great. And I think that's like kind of the number one rule in marketing, right? You gotta
ooh,
right?
that's a really great segue into the focus of this
Yes.
shortcast, right? And so I want to kind of talk about some of the topics, and we talk about learning, and we talk about like spreading yourself and stuff like that. Um, but I'm very excited about like a lot of the things that like you were able to brainstorm, and it just started like these thought processes in my mind. So like one of the things that I'm thinking of is like just things like how the economy and the market is changing, right? And then you alluded to like Web 3.0, which is something that I'm like super pumped to kind of get into as somebody who doesn't understand. Like, what are the other things that like you've been in your learning, and you're like killing it on Twitter too, with your long form posts? Like, what are the other things you're kind of excited about for future episodes?
Oh man. I guess like for future episodes, definitely that. I think what kind of ties into that because Web 3.0 is a segment of technology. Like the future of work, especially,
Mm,
that has been a huge topic, I wanna say, for all marketers, or maybe not even all marketers, for anybody that's working essentially, um, to how are we changing the way that we communicate with each other? Because before, everyone was talking about it's face to face, we're having these social gatherings, that's kind of how you get your work done essentially, or at least that's how the way that I got my work done at home. There wasn't so much of a, I guess, death by meetings, with Zoom calls and
yeah,
Google Meets, whatever collaboration platform that you end up using that day. But I feel like there wasn't, as much of that, and I feel like because of a lot of these, changes and having to talk to each other digitally, it's actually created a whole spur of, startups, which I think, forgive me if I'm wrong, but 2021 was the highest number of startups that ever had started in, I think, the United States at the time. And I
yeah,
think a lot of it has to do with people getting laid off, people kind of sick of this whole being to serve, bigger corporation, the creator economy.
yep,
I looking forward to talking about that more. And then also just, yeah, I mean, those components are really big into making the shift of the future of work. And then, obviously with, mental health taken into consideration as well, because we've seen, um, the ramifications of it. And I think I even saw like an article recently, about a woman who is going to the Winter Olympics, but she has, spoken out and, about her essentially being in isolation, not being able to communicate or be with the
yeah,
community.
yeah.
It's had a mental health effect on her. And so, um, as marketers, that's something that we really have to pay attention to, how we communicate with amongst ourselves, like our own team, how do we align with other team members, and then also how do we also how do we communicate with the broader community, and like what are the methods that we can go about doing that, because there's only so many webinars that we can do until our brain just pops. It's webinars
Yeah.
are fun. They have their place in society, but I mean, there's only so many ways you can cut a piece of cake, right? So it's it's been interesting, but I'm more interested to hear about your take on it, Quincy.
Yeah, so I'm really curious about like kind of this great awakening. I call it the great awakening, but it's a great resignation, however it's deemed, right? And like I think like we talk about pandemic coming up later and like post-pandemic world, if the post-pandemic world even really exists, in my opinion, just because of all the things that are going on. But like you see these people who realize that they only have like a limited amount of time, right? So they're reevaluating like what are the things that either A, I can do in my life or that I'm not doing because I'm like chained to, like for me, it was driving an hour and a half in traffic to an office across town every day and
Yeah,
then driving an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours home. And
yeah,
literally it's a without traffic, it's like a 37-minute drive. And so it's just
yeah,
like, dude, this is awful. Like I got a lot done. I was listening to a lot of podcasts, but at the same time, you were
yeah,
losing a lot of time. And so
yeah.
like I've just rediscovered like time. I've rediscovered like this thing called purpose. Like what's
Mhm,
my purpose and like what are the things that I really want to be doing? And how do I want to work? And like able to control those things.
mhm,
Uh, but I think the other thing is uh this idea that like uh, we're going to tr- transform out of this post-pandemic sort of digital shift. And so I'm super excited to kind of get into that because like companies, you had those CEOs and like CMOs who didn't see the value in digital marketing before, and now you don't have a choice. Like
yeah,
marketers are digital marketers now, and they're
yeah,
having to like ramp up and like learn these things. But like,
yeah,
there is no such thing as like kind of like just brand marketing, right? Because now brand and creative has to like figure out how people are going to react digitally and like how it's going to do all these things. And be able to track metrics to it and like drive,
mm,
like measure the impact of ROI back down to the bottom line. And so it's gonna be really awesome. Like I'm super excited about these topics. I am a nerd about a lot of these things, especially like Martech. But yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah.
that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. It's and 110% about like having forcing everyone to become digital marketers. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't that way before. And in fact, I actually had to pick up digital marketing skills myself because, before the pandemic, I was an event marketer essentially. So
Hmm.
heavily reliant on in in person communication
Yeah.
and just essentially just focusing on that. And then, obviously when COVID happened, everything had to be shifted. And it really kind of opened my eyes like, there's stuff beyond just the event in person marketing to if you want to make it as a touch point for your customer, so and you can be very creative about doing that. And to be quite honest, I mean, granted that was my first year into marketing.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I didn't really know kind of which methods that you could employ as a marketer to you know get like your customer interested in your own brand. And so now that the pandemic's kind of forced everyone, I mean, you don't really have a choice at this point. Um it's been an interesting journey. So yeah, but
Awesome. Let's wrap for this first episode. And so, again, super pumped. I am so pumped. The one thing that I kind of want to close this out with, and hopefully, like everybody's able to join next week or the next, whenever this is released, right? But the one thing that I want to timestamp this with is it's a really great time for Cali right now. As far as like Snoop, Dr. Dre performing at the Super Bowl, right? Like that's
Mhm.
huge. And isn't the
Yes.
Super Bowl going to be in LA?
Yeah, it is. So
So
West Coast represent right here.
Super Bowl in LA. Womp womp about the Niners, was really pulling for them
Yeah,
to kind of pull it off. And then the Olympics. Where are the Winter Olympics?
it's Beijing.
Beijing. So
Yeah.
that's super exciting too. So
Yeah.
go Team USA all the way.
Yes.
Everybody sea walk at the Olympics for the Dr. Dre and Snoop
Yeah.
Dogg thing. And
Yeah.
then yeah, you have any closing statements? Anything you want to shout out before we leave?
No, I just want to say, so again, the whole purpose of this is how not to suck at marketing. And so hopefully there's some golden nuggets of truth within our friendly banter slash conversation slash whatever we pull out of our trick hat. It's
Yeah.
just hopefully there's like some nuggets of truth of, marketing. But yeah, no, I'm super pumped about this. And I mean, this is just another manifestation of how we communicate with each other, right? It's the podcast,
Yes.
how we, interact with our community. So, um, hello to anybody that might be listening to this, and hope we can be friends. You know, this
Where
is
where
exciting.
can where can we find you for those nuggets online? What are your
Um,
socials?
So, you can definitely find me on my Twitter account. It's pronounced Nitoang, but it's actually, I don't know if anyone kind of got this, but it's an anagram of my first name and the first three letters of my middle name.
I did not get that.
Yes.
I thought it was
Yeah.
nice.
I did it specifically because I'm kind of like weird about at first I was kind of weird about my personal identity being online, and that's another thing I would love to talk about. I think privacy and marketing, that's a huge thing.
Mm,
I think I would love to explore, but that was something for me. I always kind of been like one of those people online with like pseudonyms or just going incognito just for whatever weird reason, but that's where you can find me. And on LinkedIn, of course, by Tony Boudreau. And I think there's only one of me, but if there is, I'm the girl that has brown skin. So
fair. I am on all socials, Quincy Forte, so Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. But like on LinkedIn, Quincy Johnson, hit me up. Love to have conversations and maybe have you on the show. So, with that being said, thank you everybody for tuning in for the first episode, and we'll see you next time.